In this video, we're going to be looking at revenue as we did in the last video. This is video number 3, but we're going to be relating it to the topic of elasticity. Okay? So first of all to notice is that the PED, the price elasticity of demand, affects the revenue quite a lot. Okay? So I'm going to give you 2 examples. So first of all, price elasticity of demand is inelastic, so it's between 0 and 1. Okay, what does that mean? Again, it means when you have a higher price, like a massive increase in price, it leads to a very small drop in demand. So I've put that here, big arrow for higher price, small arrow for the small drop in demand. Okay, so what would you do in this position? If you increase the price a lot, you only experience a very small decrease in demand. So what would you do? You would increase the price, okay, and you would reduce your output. Okay, you can sacrifice a few customers if you're going to put the price up a lot. You'll make more revenue doing that. Okay, now if we go to this example, PED is elastic. So it could be from 1, above 1, all the way to infinity. Okay, so what does this mean? If you increase the price a teeny bit, just a little bit, there's going to be a massive drop in demand. Okay, in relative terms. Okay, so if you were in this situation, a slightly increased price means you're going to lose a lot of customers. You wouldn't want to do that. So what should you do in this situation? You should produce more and you should decrease your price. Attract more customers and put the price down a teeny bit. Okay, and then you'll make more revenue. So I'm just going to try and illustrate that to you on a curve, on a demand curve right now. So what I've drawn for you here is, you could say that this is a more realistic illustration of a demand curve, because demand curves, they are not perfectly, they're not perfectly straight like we draw, in day-to-day economics diagrams. They're probably a bit more curved like this. Okay, now I'm just going to show this to you now. Let's say, for example, we're using this example, the market for fast food cheeseburgers, let's say. Okay, so let's imagine we are at this point here, point Q1, so quantity Q1. Okay, the price of a cheeseburger is 30p. Okay, how can the firm gain revenue? Well, if the firm increases the price to 80p, okay, first of all, that's really cheap. Okay, just to make sure people understand that's a very, very cheap price. Okay, if the firm increases that to 80p, so it's more than 2 times as much. Okay, what's going to happen to the demand? Well, it's only going to fall by a little bit, because 80p is still cheap. Okay, there's only so many cheeseburgers you can eat. Okay, just because the price is 30p, it doesn't mean you're going to eat 10. Okay, so that's the point here. Even though the price is very cheap, if you increase the price quite a lot, the demand is only going to be affected a little bit. Okay, now if we now go to this example up here, this quantity, okay, the price of the cheeseburger is very, very expensive. It's £3 for each one. Okay, so in this example, if the firm were to decrease the price, okay, it would lead to a massive increase in customers. Okay, so notice the difference in the elasticity. So here it's like kind of elastic, and then down here it's more inelastic. Okay, so what would you do? Okay, well, this is what you should do. When you're here at, let's say, at point A, the demand at this point is inelastic. Okay, so you should be increasing your price and decreasing your output so you can make more revenue. From here to here, the marginal revenue will be negative. Okay, from this point onwards. Okay, so when PED is between 0 and 1, the firm, if they want to make more revenue, they should increase the price. Now, at this point here, the demand is elastic. Okay, what should the firm do? Say, in this range here, the firm should be decreasing the price and producing more output. Here, the marginal revenue will be positive because every unit they make is adding revenue to the business. Whereas over here, if they made more units, so let's say for example from point A, we continue to make more cheeseburgers and drop the price even more, every unit you make would actually be losing you revenue compared to the points before that, okay? And what will happen is you will maximize your revenue when you reach this point here, when you reach unit elasticity. PED equals, well, in this case, -1. So when it's equal to 1, the absolute value of 1, that's when you maximize your revenue. And that also happens to be at the point where the marginal revenue equals 0. So if you produce any more units, you're not going to get any extra revenue out of it. You're probably going to lose if you continue more. If you produce less units, you're going to make less revenue from that as well. So this is where the firm maximizes its revenue.